Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We send you greetings from London. If this is your first time listening to us, you are welcome. This is the Father and Son Football Podcast. I am Kofi, the host, and my son, Kev, who is the co-host, is not here with me today, so it's just going to be me and you lot out there. And we're going to be having some interesting conversation about AFCON. Yes, AFCON 26. Yes. So, all right. Why am I here today? As you know, AFCON 2026 is over, but it's not over. It is over, but it's not over. Yes. For all the wrong reasons. There has been so much talk within football circles about the final game. And rightly so. On Sunday, January 18th, 2026, the AFCON 26 final between Morocco and Senegal descended into chaos, absolute chaos, in one of the most controversial nights in African football history. I have watched many AFCONs. I've never seen anything like this before. So it's a really controversial one. This wasn't just a dramatic African Cup of Nations final. It involved a disallowed goal, a VAR decision that went wrong, a late penalty, and an extraordinary player walk-off protest. Yes, you heard me right. Players walk off the pitch. And that walk-off protest stopped the game. And so in this audio-only football podcast, I'm going to break it all down and we'll look at what happened in the AFCON final. Why the Morocco versus Senegal match became so chaotic and how officiating and pressure changed the course of the game. So once again, this is the Father and Son Football Podcast. It's just the Father today. And this episode explains AFCON final controversy from start to finish. So let's start with the contest. Everything has contest. Yeah, nothing happens for a reason. Everything has contest. All right, Morocco were hosting the African Cup of Nations. They are playing at home in front of a passionate crowd of football fans, Moroccans, and their supporters in the Moroccan capital, Rabat. All right, so they are chasing their first AFCON title since 1976. That is a long time. We're talking about 50 years here. So this wasn't just a final for them. It was a national moment. Senegal, on the other hand, came in as one of the strongest and most respected teams on the continent. They are tournament-hardened, physically dominant, and determined to add another AFCON title to their recent one. So you had home pressure on one side, and then you have champions' expectation on the other. So that combination alone meant this game was always going to be tense. Well, from kickoff, the match was tight. It was cagey, it was physical. Neither team wanted to blink first. No one was taking risks. Everyone was playing it safe. Morocco pressed with agency, driven by the crowd. Yeah, of course, they have the home crowd behind them. Senegal stayed disciplined, compact, and patient. Chances were rare. Tempers simmered quietly. And as the clock ticked down, frustration grew. Why? Because there were no goals. Frustration grew both on the pitch and in the stands. And by the final minutes of regulation time, the score was still 0-0. So everyone expected extra time. Yes, there was extra time. But everything changed. There wasn't extra time like another 30 minutes. Injury time, I would call it. Yeah. So, but then everything changed. Deep into stoppage time, Senegal attacked from a corner. Yes, they attacked from a corner. There was confusion in the box. bodies everywhere. And then the ball ended up in the net. Ismail Assar, the Senegalese player, finishing a loose ball in the box. So Senegal believed they had scored the winning goal in an AFCON final. But the referee disallowed the goal. So why did the referee take that decision? Why did he disallow the goal? Well, according to the Congolese referee, Mr. Ndala, Senegal defender Abdoulaye Seck had fouled Moroccan captain Achraf Hakimi earlier in the build-up, so he disallowed the goal, a decision that immediately sparked protests from Senegal's players and coaching staff. Instantly, Senegal players surrounded the referee. They were gesturing and arguing and shouting, unable to believe what they had just seen. For them, this wasn't just a decision. It felt like the game had been taken away in the final seconds. And before emotions could settle down, VAR intervened. Yeah, VAR intervened. For those of you who know the word VAR, but you don't know what it actually means, it means video assistant referee. Yeah, this time the referee awarded Morocco a stoppage time penalty for a foul inside the box. Yes. From Senegal's perspective, this felt like a double injustice. Why? Because, first of all, their goal was disallowed, and second of all, a penalty has been given against them. So the emotional temperature of the match exploded. Players were shouting, staff protesting, and the sense of control began to slip away. Then came the most dramatic moment of the night, which is the major talking point. In a move almost unheard of, in a continental final, Senegal's coaching staff, led by their head coach, Papetia, instructed his players to walk off the pitch in objection to the penalty decision. Yes. Say, come on, boys, let's get out of here. We are not having this. So the game stopped. Players stood on the sideline, officials looking uncertain, and the stadium descended into confusion. Fans didn't know what was happening. Security prepared. They were just prepared for the worst situation. Tension spread through the crowd. For nearly 15 minutes, the AFCON final was suspended. This wasn't just a protest. It was a signal of how broken trust had become in that moment. But eventually, common sense prevailed. Senior Senegalese players, especially, let's give credit to Captain Sadio Mane, former Liverpool striker. He played a pivotal role in diffusing the standoff. He remained calm on the touchline and urged his teammates back onto the field to resume play. He actually went to the dressing room and came back with his teammates, the staff, and the head coach. And so the team returned to the pitch and the match resumed. Morocco and Real Madrid player Brahim Diaz had to take the penalty. So he took the penalty and missed. There's something we call Panenka style. He tried that, but it was so easy. It didn't work. And Mendy, the Senegalese goalkeeper, it was just too easy for him. For those of you who know the Panenka style, you know when people want to take penalties, they have two things in mind. The other thinking the goalkeeper is going to dive to the right or is going to dive to the left. So what the player is thinking is, okay, I'm going to put it right in the middle. And that's what he did. But it backfired. He didn't do it properly. So it was so easy for Mendy. So Morocco didn't score. So the final went into extra time. And there, quietly and efficiently, Senegal scored a decisive goal when Pape Gueye, the Everton player, scored in the 94th minute, giving them a 1-0 victory, and Senegal won the AFCON 2026 title. By that time, or by that point, football was no longer the talking point. Football was no longer the main story. It was the chaos. So what happened after? After the final whistle, controversy continued. Morocco questioned officiating decisions. They're like, no, the decisions went against us. Okay. The Royal Moroccan Football Federation announced plans to file a complaint with Confederation of African Football, which is CAF, and FIFA. What is their argument all about? Okay. Their argument is the Senegal's walk-off had disrupted the normal course of the final and influenced the outcome of the game. That is the argument. Okay. CAF, meanwhile, is saying, we will review all the events and disciplinary proceedings could follow. But people actually criticized CAF a lot. They criticized CAF over refereeing standards and VAR decisions. Observers also can't believe how a showpiece final like the African Cup final had been allowed to spiral so far. This wasn't just about one match. This reopened wider debates about match control, refereeing consistency, VAR decisions, tournament credibility, and a whole lot, and how pressure is managed at the highest level of African football. So the AFCON 2026 final, how will it be remembered? How will the final be remembered? Well, it will be remembered not just for who lifted the trophy, but for how quickly emotions, pressure, and controversy overwhelmed the occasion. A powerful reminder that in football, the biggest matches don't just test the players. They test the systems in place, they test the leadership, and they test trust. So now the question is, what do you make of all this? Was it truly a foul on Hakimi? By the way, Senegal scored a legitimate goal that was disallowed. Morocco got the penalty they cried for and failed to score. So, what do you make of this? I don't know about you, but for me, the better team won the competition. I can understand the frustration of Moroccans. I can understand why they are so bitter about it. It is painful to host a competition and lose in the final, but Senegal had the best players, and they deserve to win, and they won. So I don't know what CAF will do about this, but I am waiting patiently. So listeners, there you have it. There you have it. If you disagree with anything I've said, then by all means, leave your comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more contents like this. Thanks for listening to the Father and Son Football Podcast. And watch out for our next episode coming soon. Thank you.